For centuries, we have been fascinated by Greek mythology. From the ancient words of poets and storytellers like Homer, Hesiod, Sophocles, and Euripides, to later classical writers such as Virgil, whose works helped shape the mythological canon of the Western world. These timeless stories have been retold and reimagined across generations, finding unforgettable life on the big screen in mythological films from the 1960s through the 1980s, most notably through the work of the legendary Ray Harryhausen, whose pioneering stop-motion animation brought creatures to life in classics like Jason and the Argonauts and the original Clash of the Titans. More recently, the genre was revitalized by the 2004 epic Troy, a sweeping tale of love, honor, and war set at the end of the Trojan conflict. Now in 2026, audiences will finally receive one of the most ambitious adaptations yet. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, a bold, grounded, and visionary retelling of Homer's immortal epic, promising to bring myth, humanity, and cinematic spectacle together like never before. The most anticipated film of the year and the ultimate tale of mythology. There are films audiences look forward to, and then there are films that feel inevitable. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, scheduled for release on July 17, 2026, firmly belongs in the latter category. It is widely regarded as the most eagerly anticipated film of 2026, not just because of Nolan's involvement, but because it represents something cinema has been circling for decades, a definitive, serious, epic adaptation of Homer's immortal poem, told with scale, intelligence, and emotional weight. For the first time in his career, Nolan is stepping fully into mythological storytelling, and he's doing so with the foundational text of Western literature. If Oppenheimer explored the burden of genius and consequence, The Odyssey promises to explore endurance, identity, pride, loyalty, and the meaning of home. Themes Nolan has been quietly interrogating throughout his entire career. Homer, the poem, and the ancient world. Homer, believed to have lived around the 8th century BCE, is traditionally credited with two monumental epics, the Iliad and the Odyssey. These works were composed during Greece's Archaic period and likely transmitted orally long before being written down. While historians still debate Homer's exact identity, whether he was a single poet or a collective tradition, his influence on storytelling is immeasurable. The timeline. The Iliad covers events near the end of the Trojan War. The Odyssey begins after Troy has fallen following the Greek victory. This is crucial. The Odyssey is not a war story. It is a homecoming story set in the aftermath of war's devastation. The Trojan War and many earlier mythological films exist within the same narrative universe, even if they focus on different chapters of Homeric legend. Troy, 2004. Wolfgang Petersen's Troy adapts events drawn primarily from the Iliad, depicting Achilles, Hector, Agamemnon, the fall of Troy via the Trojan horse. Timeline connection. Troy ends precisely where the Odyssey begins. Odysseus survives the war, but his true struggle is just starting. Clash of the Titans, 1981. The original Clash of the Titans focuses on Perseus, not Odysseus, and draws from earlier Greek myths predating the Trojan War. Perseus belongs to an earlier heroic age, but the film established a cinematic language for gods, monsters, and myth that later Odyssey adaptations inevitably echo. Other relevant mythological films, Jason and the Argonauts, 1963, like Clash of the Titans, also famous for stop animation creature effects. The Odyssey, 1997 miniseries starring Armand Assante. Immortals, 2011, stylistic myth reinterpretation. None, however, combined intellectual depth, realism, and scale the way Nolan's adaptation aims to. The story of the Odyssey. At its core, the Odyssey follows Odysseus, king of Ithaca, as he attempts to return home after the Trojan War. A journey that lasts 10 years, mirroring the 10-year war itself. Odysseus, a hero not defined by strength alone, but by wit, intelligence, and adaptability. His greatest flaw is pride, and much of the story revolves around the consequences of his arrogance, particularly his defiance of the god Poseidon. Penelope. His wife, left behind in Ithaca, must fend off suitors who believe Odysseus dead. Her loyalty mirrors his endurance. Telemachus. Their son, who begins the story as a boy and grows into a man searching for his father. A parallel journey of identity. Confirmed cast and roles. Christopher Nolan has assembled one of the most impressive ensembles of his career. Matt Damon, Odysseus; Anne Hathaway, Penelope; Tom Holland, Telemachus; Zendaya, Athena; Charlize Theron, Circe; Robert Pattinson, Antinous; Lupita Nyong'o, John Bernthal, Benny Safdie, John Leguizamo, Himesh Patel, and Elliot Page. This cast allows Nolan to populate the world with gods, monsters, kings, sailors, and schemers, each with emotional depth rather than mythic abstraction. Mythological creatures Nolan may bring to life. One of the most exciting prospects is how Nolan will portray mythology without relying heavily on CGI, consistent with his dedication to practical effects. Possible creatures from Homer's poem include Polyphemus the Cyclops, the one-eyed giant whose blinding enrages Poseidon; the sirens, lethal enchantresses, whose song promises forbidden knowledge; Scylla and Charybdis, a six-headed monster in a catastrophic whirlpool; the Laestrygonians, cannibalistic giants who annihilate Odysseus's fleet; Circe, a sorceress who transforms men into animals; gods and goddesses, Athena as protector, Poseidon as adversary. Seeing these beings rendered physically rather than digitally recalls the awe of Jason and the Argonauts, or Clash of the Titans, but with modern craftsmanship and psychological realism. Christopher Nolan, a director of unmatched versatility, Nolan's filmography spans genres few directors dare to cross. Memento, psychological thriller; The Dark Knight trilogy, grounded superhero epic; Inception, science fiction heist; Interstellar, cosmic family drama; Dunkirk, experiential war cinema; Oppenheimer, historical character study. What unites them is control of time, perspective, and moral consequence, all central themes of the Odyssey. Odysseus, like many Nolan protagonists, is brilliant but flawed, haunted by his decisions, forced to confront the cost of survival. Why the Odyssey feels like Nolan's destiny. For decades, mythological films have leaned towards spectacle over substance. Nolan's The Odyssey feels poised to finally bridge the gap, honoring the ancient epic, respecting its timeline within Homer's universe, and elevating it with modern cinematic craft. Like Troy before it, this film draws from Homer. But unlike Troy, it is not about the fall of a city. It is about the return of a man. Final thoughts. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey has the potential to stand beside Ben-Hur, Lawrence of Arabia, and Gladiator. Not just as a blockbuster, but as a definitive epic. With its July 17th, 2026 release date, its connection to the Trojan War, its mythological lineage, and Nolan's obsession with realism and meaning, this film may finally give Homer's masterpiece the cinematic treatment it has always deserved. This is not just a movie, it is the journey home. Anyway, folks, agree or disagree, let me know how much you hate me or agree with me in the comments. When all is said and done, just remember, it's only a movie. Anyway, I've been Bob. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and check out our new video right here. Until the next time.